So I think this is a very good example of a very good trade. Right now I'm trying to focus more on what makes a good trade, and I've kind of compiled a list. So the first thing that makes a good trade is framing away from a lower high of day set with an SMT and a PSP. Additionally, you want to also determine the daily bias. I don't really worry about that anymore because I would say I'm pretty good at determining what direction price wants to go. Once I determine that, it's really all about finding the evidence. So if we are bullish, for example, I want to ideally have a low of day that we will not see again. So we'll just continue up in the upward direction. I also want to see if the 6 a.m. candle aligns with the bias, meaning if I'm bullish, I want to see that the 6 o'clock candle is also bullish. So the 6 o'clock candle here wasn't bullish, and this is where a lot of discretion comes into play, which is kind of annoying, but a lot of it was based on the fact that we had a two-stage SMT here. And when I went down and I was like, okay. And then I saw that, what else? Did I see anything else? I saw that we had a sweep here. We had a sweep on all the assets on ES, on NASDAQ and YM. And we had, I believe we had an SMT here, right? Yeah, we had an SMT put in. And we were actually being supported by this 30-minute forward value on NASDAQ specifically. And yeah, so then once I saw that we flipped, and I think we got a 30-minute and 50-minute model. So, wait a minute. So we started to reject, yeah, so I know that we got a model off of, yeah, so this was the model here. At 9:30, we flipped and started going up. So I honestly just waited for the first CISD, which was here, and I immediately got in here, and then I just took it up to my drawn liquidity. Could have possibly held it to here, but that would have been more risky. Does it get there? We tapped into this high here, so we could see a reversal. Oh wow, that we would have hit. Could have got for 1 to 3. This was a really nice trade. So that's why I'm documenting it, because I think I'm not really good at identifying like the A plus trades, and I need to get better at that. But for the third thing on my list, I'm looking for a 15-minute and 30-minute model. But not only that, I'm also looking for fair value gaps to open up. So if we're putting in a low of day and we're framing away from the low of day, meaning framing away means that when we put in a low, we want to see expansion away from that low, because that confirms our bias, right? It confirms that we ideally shouldn't see this low again, because when we expand away, we don't want to see this low. And it confirms that it's a relevant low that we should not see again. Especially if it's the low of day, right? Because if it's the low of day, we don't want to see the low of day again, because then the candle wouldn't be bullish. It would be a bearish candle. So that's kind of how I went in here. This was a very, very beautiful trade. As you can see, it went up on all assets. So yeah. What am I looking for? Frame away from lower high of day set with an SMT and PSP. That's after finding your bias. See if 6 a.m. candle aligns with bias, plus / if any fair value gaps open up. So that's 2. Look for 15 to 30-minute model, 3. And then 4, you're basically just looking for your 3-minute CISD based on the driver. Look for your 3-minute CISD based on the driver. And what do I mean based on the driver? So I think GxT has a very good video on this, and 11 Trades also has a very good video on what the drivers are. There's a couple different drivers. If I'm being honest, I don't really know all of them off the top of my head, but I know that one is if we have a low of day put in before the driver, then ideally we want to see a sweep in the opposing direction, not going back to the complete low of day, just going back, sweeping out whatever liquidity. I think a good example would be this right here. So we had a swing point before the driver, meaning before 9:30, and when 9:30 opened, we swept this out. We didn't take out the low of day, we swept, and then we flipped, right? So that means I can take the first change in state of delivery up to the upside, and that's exactly what I did. I took the first 3-minute change in state, and that's when it went up. Now, what else? Now, let's say we didn't have a relevant low of day put in, right? So if we didn't have a relevant low of day put in, that means the driver would put in the higher low of day. And then if it put in the higher low of day and we were trading, like, let's say we didn't have a low of day here and the driver came down, put in the low of day and started flipping. We wouldn't take the first change in state of delivery because that's highly risky because we don't know when the low is being formed. So we would take the continuation, which would be a 3-minute order block, a 3-minute inverse fair value gap, and something like that. Assuming that the candle that you're trading is going to be an expansion candle. So yeah, because I was anticipating this 9 o'clock candle, or that second half of that 9 o'clock candle to expand away, be an expansion candle, I could trade that. So yeah, I'm kind of just working on identifying A+ setups, and that's kind of why I'm recording this right now, because I want to know what an A+ setup looks like, and this is definitely one of them. I don't really need to go back to the daily. I had a bullish bias. I just marked out my 1800 candle, see if the low of day was set with an SMT. As you can see, it is. It's set with a 2-stage SMT, and then going into the open, we actually ended up putting in, or I think we already had another SMT here. Wait a minute. Actually, I don't think this is SMT, or is it? Yeah, it is, because we took this low on YM. We didn't take it on NASDAQ so the only asset we didn't take this low on is NASDAQ, but ES and YM took it, so that was an SMT here. Yeah. So we had another SMT here. And then we had the sweep, so I could frame away from that and trade higher. And then I just looked for my 15 to 30-minute model, which was this, and this. I decided, but not only that, you also want to decide what asset to trade. Just looking at all of them, I was thinking that ES was the stronger one, but it looks like YM was also strong. NASDAQ looks like it's the weaker of the bunch. YN was actually the best one because that baby just ripped. Yeah, man. Wow. Let's see what this would have looked like. So you kind of just would have entered here. Stop could have been all the way at the end. You could have targeted here for 1 to 2 or targeted 1 to 3. 1 to 3 was definitely available. Does it get to 1 to 5? I highly doubt it. Yeah, I don't want to be too... Oh, wow. It would have got to 1 to 5. That's crazy, actually. 1 to 5. Wow. That would have been $2,000 right there. $5,000 if you did 2%. That's crazy. But trades like this are very rare, so this was a very, very good trade. I'm actually kind of... The only thing I'm upset at is that I didn't go for 1 to 3, but it's whatever. This is a very beautiful trade, and I wanna be able to identify A+ trades. And I think maybe that's why my trading is not as good, because I'm not identifying what those really good trades look like. As you can see, I'm doing a new session because I really got pissed at my last sessions. I don't know if you guys want to look at that really quick. So the last session I was working on was this one, as you guys saw in the last live session I did. These were my end stats. I started August. July was a shit fest. Ended up with 1%. I mean, still green, but... And then August, not off to a good start. Already down $2,000, which makes no sense. So that means I was risking like 2% or something. So yeah, not good. And I kind of just got mad and rage quit. So I started a new session. Started fresh. But yeah, this was a very, very good trade. A very good A+ trade setup. And I'm going to definitely title this video A+ trade setup. And I'll probably make like a compilation of them because I need to know what are A+ trades, what do those look like, because I feel like lately I've just been taking like any willy-nilly trade. I don't really understand what those good trades are supposed to look like. So if I can filter them out, then my win rate should be high, right? I need to understand what these look like. Anyways, with that being said, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.